All right.
Okay, I'm not going to bother you anymore, I promise. All right, but I do see that we have Congressman Bruce Westerman is with us. Now, hang on a second. Before you start clapping, I see he's on crutches, so when you start clapping, you better clap for a long enough time to give him enough time to get up here. And anyway, Congressman Bruce Westerman, everybody, come on.
You should see the other guy. I turned 50 in November, so I thought I still had a couple months of youth left in me, but in my effort to keep this machine finally honed and well oiled, I tore a muscle in my calf. I don't recommend that for anyone, but it makes it interesting trying to get around in the halls in Washington, D.C. on crutches. So I'm anxious for the day when I don't need them anymore. It's not a lot of fun, but it's great to be with you today. I'm glad I had a chance to come by here and to redo some old acquaintances and say hi to a lot of folks that I haven't seen in a while. And I know that sometimes it can seem like it's a long, hard fight, and that things don't get done, but really you should take your hands like this and reach back and pat yourselves on the back, because you and a lot of people like you across this country are making a difference in our country. And it's a slow process, a very slow process. But think about 1 year ago. If you hadn't been working hard and doing the things that you were doing 1 year ago, think about this. There's a liberal judge somewhere in this country who's not a member of the Supreme Court now. There's a lot of policies that were put in place by the previous administration that have not only been rolled back, but they've been permanently rolled back through a process that we call a Congressional Review Act, which we've had 14 of those signed or passed by the House, passed by the Senate, and signed into law. And this has rarely been used before, but when you use a Congressional Review Act, it not only rolls back the administrative policy that was put in place, but it's like it puts a death knell in it and says that future administrations can't put that same policy into place, and it is a function of Congress. So you don't read a lot about those things that are happening, but there are things that are happening, and they're happening slowly. There are things that aren't happening that I wish they were happening, and I know you wish they were happening. Not getting something done on the Affordable Care Act and getting that repealed is very disappointing to me, and I know it's very disappointing to you, and it is to a lot of people across the country. We worked very hard to get the bill out of the House. When it went to the Senate, they never could come to agreement. They finally had the skinny bill, as they called it, that was like as low a hurdle as you could ask to cross. It was just to repeal the individual mandates so that we could come together as a conference and work out an overall bill that the president could sign. Believe me, the president wants a bill on his desk. The problem's not with the administration. The House got the bill to the Senate. When they didn't pass that skinny bill, it not only killed that whole bill, but it killed the process of reconciliation we were using to do it with a simple majority vote in the Senate. So to me, that was like getting hit in the stomach with a baseball bat, to put it mildly, or tearing your calf playing pickup basketball. But it's not over. It ended the process. It ended a lot of hard work that we've been doing, but the problems with Obamacare aren't going away, and at some point they're still going to have to be addressed. If it hadn't been for the hard work that you and a lot of people like you across the country did, then the conversation right now wouldn't be about an overall tax reform package that we need to get done by the end of the year. Those are the things that we're concentrating on in Congress right now, is to create a federal tax system that makes America more competitive, that lowers individual rates, that lowers corporate rates, and also that simplifies the tax code. A lot of people don't realize we had $468 billion of uncollected taxes in America last year. And it's because we've got such a complicated tax code, and the IRS is not just ineffective, but they're working in an ineffective system where there are too many loopholes for people to avoid paying taxes. So we've got to get a more simple and a fair tax code and to make America more competitive with other countries. We put ourselves at a competitive disadvantage with our tax code. We've got to get more people into the job market. If you look at the statistics in Arkansas, we've got record low unemployment, but we've also got a record number of people who aren't seeking employment. If you look at data from 2008 to 2016, in 2008, I believe the unemployment rate was around 5.5%. In 2016, it was 4%, and it's lower than that right now. Our population has grown over that time period, but we've actually got fewer people with a job in Arkansas right now than we had in 2008, or we did at the end of 2016. That's because so many people have left the job market. The policies that I work on in Washington, D.C., and the things that I push through the Budget Committee, I'm always looking at ways to try to force mandatory work requirements for able-bodied working age adults. As I visit with employers around my district, I hear them tell me that business is good, they just can't find people to work. And I've talked to other members of Congress across the country that have the same story. And I say, so you need more people that are trained to be welders and electricians and machinists. And they say, yeah, that would be great, but if you could get somebody that would pass a drug test, that would come to work and show up on time and stay employed for more than 6 to 8 weeks, then that would be fantastic. So at the same time in Arkansas, when we've seen the total number of jobs decrease and a huge drop in the labor participation rate, we've also seen a doubling of number of people receiving SNAP benefits, and with the Medicaid expansion, we've seen about over 300,000 people getting free health care from the federal government, and these are able-bodied working-age adults. So we need to use these federal programs to get people into the workforce, and that's the way we'll tackle the debt, is through growing the economy. The CBO says they're expecting a 2% growth in the GDP, which is way too low. Our country's historically been around 3%. If we can get the economy growing at 3% and get more people back to work, so you got less people dependent on the government, more people paying revenue or paying taxes to the government, you attack that national debt from both directions. There's going to be a lot of exciting things happen in Congress over the next few months. I'm glad that I get to be there and be a part of some of the big things that we're going to be working on. There's so much noise around the outside in the world today that we live in politics that I just try to keep my head down and work hard and do what I know is right for the hard-working taxpayers in Arkansas. And I appreciate your support, and I appreciate you continuing to join together like this and for working hard to make sure that we carry a conservative message into the future, so that it's not about us, it's more about our kids and our grandkids. And I appreciate all that you do, and I appreciate you giving me a few minutes to visit with you here today. So God bless you, and enjoy your meal and enjoy the conference.